Hello, people. So, today we're gonna have a special guest, Harry Gregson-Williams. He actually, composed the music of some of the biggest blockbusters like Narnia, The Martian, directed by Ridley Scott, um, which was a Oscar contender of that year, and some other blockbusters like X-Men Origins, uh, animated movies like Shrek, and the recent movies like The Last Duel and The House of Gucci. He also collaborated with some of the greatest composers like Hans Zimmer. So yeah, it would be a great honor to have him right now here. So yeah, I'm just waiting for him. He'll be joining the session very soon. So let's see. If you guys have any question right now, you can ask me through the comment section over there. You can write your own feedback. You can write your own questions. Uh, if you want to ask, uh, you can directly ask him whatever question you can ask. So post your comments over there. If you guys have any question right now, you can ask. You can post your comment over there, and I'll be asking that to the to our guest, Harry. Okay, let me tell you about Harry. Um, some of his latest works. Okay, so let me tell you. Uh, you know, he's everyone does know that he's one of the Hollywood's most sought after and prolific composers. Um, you know, his career, his entire filmography is so long. I mean, he composed so many movies, like, as I've said, The Last Duels, The Last Duel, House of Gucci. Uh, Both of them are directed by Ridley Scott. Um, you know, and he also composed some of the uh, you know uh, mini series like Catch 22, and he also he was the composer on four installments of an animated blockbuster, as I've said, the Shrek franchise, you know, which earned him a BAFTA nomination for that, for the movie Shrek. You know, he also received Golden Globe and Grammy Award nomination for his score for the Chronicles of Narnia. And Narnia, everyone does know about Narnia because each of us, and very if you are from my era, you can connect with that because we have grown up watching movies like Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia. I mean, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, you we understand the like the visuals that come with the music, so that you can feel the movie, and Harry is the person behind the emotions. You can easily connect with that. Yeah, as I've seen, he's a longtime collaborator of Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott is one of the greatest filmmakers uh, in the world right now. I mean, of all time. I mean, he directed some of the iconic movies like Blade Runner, Alien, Gladiator, and obviously The Martian, which earned Harry. I mean, Harry composed the music of The Martian. Uh, so also, he composed the movie, the recent blockbuster that is called The Meg, starring Jason Statham. So yeah, I mean, also he he shared a great friendship with composer Hans Zimmer. Both of them worked on movies like The Rock, Armageddon, and The Prince of Egypt. Uh, so yeah, let's see how the how it's how it's gonna go. We hope that uh, you know it will go very good, like as usual. So yeah, I'm waiting for him right now. uh, okay. And all the people, if whenever you watch the video, whoever is watching it right now, you can ask whatever you want. You can also you can also suggest me that who are the celebrities, who are the next guests you want to see. If you have a suggestion, you can share with me. You can uh, you know post a comment over there, so that I can bring them here. So yeah, let's see. As you know, it was the previous. Uh, I was doing the previous, video, previous live session with my team, because my upcoming film, it's coming. It's going to be, it's going to release uh, tomorrow. I can say tomorrow because it's almost 12 a.m. It's 11 a.m. I mean, just 1 hour left. So it's going to release on 10th, at 11 a.m. IST. Love Rock and Paradox. I'm making this film. So yeah, watch the movie, and if you really like, please do share, uh, and share your thoughts, because that's the important thing. That you if you're sharing your feedback, your honest feedback, it really helps. It really helps. So do it. I mean, just watch the film whenever it releases. So anyways, I'm just going out of topic, like, but yeah, promotion, it should happen in a way, in every way. It's like, um and we're trying really hard to to reach out to everyone on a global level. you know we're trying very hard. So it's really important to get some feedback from you guys. It's really important. So if you feel that we are going right or wrong, you can share with us. You can share. So because feedback's always, it helps. So yeah, I'm waiting for him. I'm waiting for our guest. He is. I'm really excited right now because, Harry Gregson-Williams. He'll be joining our session tonight. So yeah, I'm really excited. Let's see how it's gonna go. You know. And by the I mean, that one thing that I must say, that there are more guests who will be coming. Uh, uh, you know, will be coming in future. Um, that would be great because we're really trying to, uh, you know, uh, go global on every level. So yeah, our guest is coming. Is He's almost in. Uh, it's really, it feels really weird, but sometimes it feels really, uh, you know uh, amazing. It feels amazing sometimes and very silly sometimes, because like, when you have grown up watching the movies, you have grown up watching their movies, on the big screen, or uh, you know uh, when you were a kid, and right now you're talking to them directly. uh, you're interacting with them. I mean, Hollywood has become, like a part of my life. I've grown up watching them. I've grown up, uh, you know, living the life of Hollywood, because that's how I grown up. Watching them. Um, I didn't have any connection. I didn't have any, any backing on its way. Like, as you say, like, the platform is very much open to everyone, but very few people can, uh, you know, can really, pursue. Uh, so very few people can get this kind of opportunity. So it's really, it feels really amazing that I'm doing it right now, and I'm really enjoying it. uh, talking to people, talking to amazing people, like as you know, today Harry is going to join, so it would be really great to to talk to him. So yeah, I'm telling everyone again that if you guys have any question regarding our live session or films, uh, or our if you have any question to ask to our guests, you can directly, you can share your comment over there, and I'll ask him directly. uh, so yeah, you can you can ask him whatever you want. So yeah, as I was saying, the thing that everything I have grown up watching, it's really happening right now. So that's how I can say, like, you don't know what the journey is. You don't really know your destiny. You just have to explore it on every level. Like 10 years back, I didn't know that this was going to happen. I really don't you know you know I didn't even imagine that this day would come, but it's happening. But the only thing that's being constant in a way, that is your willpower, your strong willpower to do something, to create something, you know, of your own, um, to fight with the odds. That's the thing. So do it. If you really feel for something, that uh, if you really feel that one thing, that one purpose of your life, if you really feel that this is the thing I want to pursue, just do it without any hesitation. Just do it. Don't ever think about the odds, because odds are pretty much part of ourselves. So we create our own odds, and also we fight with them simultaneously. We do it. So yeah, I just want to say, if you really feel for something, just don't give up. Don't give up. Do it. Anyways, just some I'm taking a little more time, but uh, she'll be joining soon, very soon. Uh, so let's see. Sometimes people ask me that what are the main differences between this industry and our industry and Hollywood. I mean, they're pretty much same. If you really think, they're pretty much same, uh, but the people, that makes a difference. That makes a difference. Uh, like if you really know and understand the facts, like I'm connecting with the people from both the industries for so long, and that one thing that I really understand, uh, that Hollywood is very much like very much diverse, very much, um, you know, um, they understand your value. They understand your, uh, like, whatever you want to say. They understand your voice. That's really important. Like, they don't really follow any, uh, you know uh, like, they obviously follow a trend, but the trend, uh, the trend really, uh, it doesn't feel like it's really a trend. uh, all right, so yeah, the thing is, like, they really understand your voice. They really, uh, look for your voice. And I really miss that thing here. Obviously, I mean, not all of them, but some people are doing really great here. And they're trying really hard to push the boundary. uh, but there's a ratio. Like, there's a ratio, I mean, like, 80 and 20. That's the ratio. If you ask me about Hollywood, it's 80 and 20. But if you ask me, about this industry, it's, like, 30 and 70. Like, 30% of people are really doing, great. But the maximum, uh, you know you know what I mean. So yeah, I can see someone joins here. Someone joined here, our live. This is Shuv. Hi, Shuv. Hi, Shuv. If you have any question, you can ask. You can post, your comment over there. uh, I will ask him. I will ask our guest. If you have any question, to our guest, you can write down over there. Today our guest is, uh, one of the greatest film composers in the world, uh, Harry Gregson-Williams. He composed music for, some of the amazing, blockbusters like, Narnia, the Chronicles of Narnia, X-Men Origins, Shrek, The Martian, uh, The House of Gucci. I mean, the list is on and on and on. The list is very big. So, if you have any question, I mean, I have, so much question, for him. If you guys have any question for him, you can post it over there. You can post it on the comment section. So yeah, just, it's almost, let's see. Okay, let me just just a second. All right, guys, the time has come. uh All right, guys. So some more minutes, and he'll be joining here. Let's see. I know it's pretty late over there, but it's almost 11:30. But uh, as you know, our time zone is pretty much screwed. So we can't help. So yeah, uh, you know that's the thing. That's the thing. But one thing that I must say, that is, um, all the aspiring writers, filmmakers, directors, and actors, whoever is watching and whoever is interested to do the session, to join our session, you can also, you know you can also join the session, because it's really important, because I really feel that it's really important to pay forward all my experiences and all their experiences. So it's really important. So yeah, I mean, if you are an aspiring writer, director, actor, or other artist, you can join the session. I'm sure you'll learn a lot from our guests, because they are at the top of the game right now, and whoever is joining uh, our session, they're at the top of the game. you know so yeah, you can really join this session. Come on, if you have any question regarding the sessions, regarding the films, regarding if you really want to pursue career in film industry, or if you really know about the and if you really you know you want to understand the culture of Hollywood, understand the industry, you can ask our guest Harry, and other guests too. uh, so that's the thing. He'll be joining soon. Some more minutes left. 2 more minutes. Okay, so he's joining. Let me add him to this session. Just a minute. So yeah, whoever is watching right now, I can say that today, again, I'm saying today our guest is Harry Gregson-Williams. He's a music composer. I don't even have to introduce him. He is he has composed one of the biggest blockbusters like the Chronicles of Narnia, Shrek franchisee, and like movies like X-Men Origins, um, The Martian. I mean, you can see the varieties. So yeah, so he's here. Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Okay, good.
Yeah. Good morning from my side.
Where are you speaking from?
Yeah, I'm from India.
And that's where you are now, right now?
Yeah, I'm 11. It's 11:30. PM.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a sunny morning in California.
Oh. So how are you?
I'm good. What are we doing
Yeah.
here?
Yeah. So first let me start it from your journey, because that's really interesting question. I mean, how did you start your journey, the music journey?
Well, I went to a very musical school as a child of 6 or 7 years of age,
Okay.
and it was a specialist music school. So
Oh,
I did a huge amount of music every day. I learned to read music pretty much as quickly as I learned to read English. Um, and it was a very rigorous education, a lot of practicing of instruments, a lot of musical theory, singing, playing in orchestras, all that sort of thing. Uh, when I left that school, I went on to a music scholarship to another school to continue my studies. And after that, I went to, as an 18-year-old, I went to music college in London to
okay.
study music properly. Yeah. So from there, I actually taught music for years, for about 10 years. I taught music and sports, the two things that I like and that I'm any good at. Having done that, I had a chance meeting with Hans Zimmer in London in the spring of 1995,
Okay.
and we became really good friends. Uh, and he invited me over to Los Angeles to become his assistant. And at that time, he just had one assistant, and that was me.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, I learned the ropes from Hans, and
Yeah.
I stayed with him for 4 or 5 years, paid my dues, and then started off on my own. And that's why I'm here today.
Yeah. I mean, what really inspired you to pursue this career?
He did. Yeah.
Okay.
Spending time with Hans Zimmer inspired
Okay.
me to try and try and see if I could find a career in writing music for films, specifically films.
Yeah.
I've done many, many, many films, and I've done a little bit of TV, but
Yeah.
my passion is really with scoring films.
Scoring films. Yeah. So what's your actual process? I mean, how do you compose music? And I mean, I know it's a very simple question, but it's also like, how do you what's your procedure to compose a music?
Well, I usually start at the piano in my studio,
Okay.
with the film running on a screen. I get to
Yeah.
know the film and the characters really well, and then I'll come up with a concept as to what I'm trying
Yeah.
to do with it. I take a movie like Shrek. Um, when I did the first Shrek, I had already done a couple of animations by then. I did Ants and I did Chicken Run. When I came to do the first Shrek, the director pointed out, look, it's not that complicated. This is a love story. Just because it's ogres and it's animation, this could
Yeah.
be Romancing the Stone. It could be any love story. You know,
Yeah.
Shrek's fallen in love with this princess. She turns out to be an ogre, um, and it's about them trying to get together.
Yeah.
So what at the beginning of that process, for instance, if it's a love story, then I better write a theme that could transform into a love theme if necessary. So I usually would start at the piano, write a theme, Once I'm happy with that, probably share it with the director, get him on board with it. And then I'd move over to, I use Cubase as my sequencer. Cubase and Pro Tools are the tools that I use. And then I'd start sequencing it. That is to say, instead of it just being a piano arrangement, I can now demo it up with strings and flutes and whatever it is going to be. So that's my
Yeah.
process. And I generally won't start to try and write music to the picture until I'm clear about what my concept is and what my thematic material is. Right now, I'm doing a sequel to a summer movie I did about 4 or 5 years ago called The Meg with Jason Statham.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
old shark movie. That's a
Yeah.
summer kind of blockbuster thing, big Warner Brothers film. And it's my process is slightly different this time because I did the first movie. I already have my themes. Now I've got to try and find where I can take them, what I can do with them. And obviously the story is somewhat different in the second movie, but it simplifies matters having already the thematic material that I need.
Yeah. Yeah. So while scoring the Meg, I mean, did you have anything like any references like the
Well,
Jaws? Because
obviously John Williams' iconic theme for
yeah.
Jaws, but yeah, no, there's no way I was going to try and emulate that. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So I wrote my own little motif for the shark, megalodon,
Yeah.
and I try and go down my own path. But it's difficult to be. Obviously, comparisons are held up with they're both being sort of mean sea creatures.
Yeah.
There's going to be some comparisons, and that's tough. That's why it's quite nice to have started this series. Like, for instance, with Shrek, I did four movies and a theme park ride and TV specials and things like that. Once one knows where one is with these things, one can start to really explore the thematic material.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really what I actually saw. I mean, you have been associated with Ridley Scott movies. I
Yeah.
mean, what's actually the collaboration. I mean, how was your collaboration with Ridley Scott?
Well, it started back in about 2007. I hadn't worked with Ridley before. I had met him because when I used to have my studio at Hans's studio, Ridley was there doing Gladiator, and he was visiting Hans and listening to music that Hans had done. So I had met the guy, but my association with Ridley really began because of my association with his brother Tony Scott, and I had scored Tony's movies from 1996. Very shortly after I arrived in LA, I had a chance to do Enemy of the State, which led to Spy Game, which led to Man on Fire, which led to Deja Vu, Domino, all multiple movies with Tony. And sort of halfway through that voyage, around about 2007 or something, I got a call from a friend of mine who was Ridley's music editor. He was in London at the time, and he said, Harry, Ridley's listening to your music right now in a cutting room. I'm like, why? What's it got to do with me? The last film that Ridley had done was Gladiator, and Hans had won an Oscar for it. I mean, why wouldn't he be using Hans? And my friend said, well, look, listen, I don't know what's gone on between Hans and Ridley, but all I know is that Hans isn't doing this film, and he's listening to James Horner, he's listening to various people, and he's been quite attracted to. He's been listening to your music for the last hour on some CDs in the cutting room, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gives you a call. So I felt a little bit awkward about that because I was really Tony's guy, his brother's guy. And I've got brothers. I know how sibling rivalry. So indeed, I got a call from Ridley who said, I've got this film, Kingdom of Heaven. I think it could be right up your street because I think there'd probably be a lot of choral music, and he knew that something that I had learned a lot about. And he said, well, look, listen, if you would do this, I need you to get on a plane. My studio, I moved over to LA in 1995, and I'd been with Hans for a few years, and then I moved away from Hans to set out on my own. And I'd set up my studio beautifully in Venice, on Venice Beach. and everything was hardwired in, and it was just, it was exactly how I needed it to be to compose.
Yeah.
And Ridley said, "Yeah, you're going to have to bring your gear over to London for 6 months. That's where I'm doing post production. That's where I need you to be." So I had to
Yeah.
unplug all my stuff and put it into flight cases, and off I went for 6 months. And I went back to, where I'd started, which was in London. Um, and yeah, it was a terrific experience, and we had a good time on Kingdom of Heaven. It was tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I found really tough and different to his brother. And
Yeah.
by that time, I had probably done 5 movies with Tony, so I really knew who I was dealing with there. But I didn't know really. All I knew was that, like, the previous film we just done was Gladiator, and it had been so successful. So I felt a lot of pressure, and it's a bit like we were saying, doing a movie about a shark. The
Yeah.
comparisons are going to be there.
Yeah.
What I do and what John Williams did, and I just got to deal with that. So yeah, I arrived in London and worked my way through that score. It was a huge score, lots and lots of music to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and the film wasn't nearly as successful as Gladiator. It wasn't as strong as Gladiator. Um,
Yeah.
and consequently, it wasn't as successful, but really was happy with what I did. And a few years later, he called me up and said, "Look, actually, I was about to say he called me up and asked me to do The Martian, but actually before that, his
Oh.
brother committed suicide, as you probably know. Tony ended his own life. And after that, Ridley called me and said, "Look, you can come with me now, Harry."
Yeah.
So I did The Martian, and
Yeah.
I've done several other films with Ridley. Last year, I did The Last Duel and The House of Gucci.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a relationship with both of them, and one never really knows whether they'll continue or not. Ridley
Yeah.
can choose any composer he wants. He's a big
Yeah. Yeah.
cheese, Ridley Scott. He can have anybody he wants. So I don't take anything for granted. If he calls me, I'll be very happy. But if he doesn't, and he goes with, if you look at the composers that Ridley's used in his career, from
Yeah.
Vangelis to Zimmer to
Yeah.
James Horner to Jerry Goldsmith, these
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
people. So yeah, so I should be so lucky to be asked, and I've already done 3 or 4 films with Ridley, so I feel very fortunate. But I don't know. I don't think I'm doing his next film, which is
Yeah.
based on Napoleon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's shooting it right now. He hasn't asked me to do it, so I presume he's asked somebody else to do it. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. You have to deal with that, just like in any job. I don't have any. I don't have a golden ticket to do his
Yeah.
movies. But if he asks me, I'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, he has that faith on you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the reason.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. So we'll see how it goes. You can never expect. I don't expect anything. I have to work for what I've got. So I'm busy enough as it is. I'll be doing.
Yeah.
I'll be conducting the orchestra for the Meg 2 in London at Abbey Road in December, and then I'm going to move straight on to another sequel, which is Chicken Run 2.
Chicken Run 2. Yeah, that was a fun movie.
Yeah. Well, the sequel is going to be even more fun, I think. So I'm going to start that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have been associated with movies like Narnia. I mean, absolutely fantasy movies, and also you were doing movies like The Martian, and also the animated movies. So how do you differentiate them?
Well, you don't really. As I said earlier on, Shrek might be an animated movie, but it's at heart it's a love story. And
yeah,
I was very fortunate to have DreamWorks offering me film after film after film with Ants, Chicken Run, Shrek, Flushed Away. I can't remember a lot. I've done lots of movies for them, and at the same time, I had my association with Tony Scott. So I was doing Man on Fire, Spy Game. So maybe I don't recall, but in a year like 2006, I might have done Man on Fire and then Shrek 2. So 2 very, very different films, and I realized it was very fortunate to be doing this because it's quite easy for a composer to be kind of typecast in one sort of thing, like, oh, that's or that's the romantic comedy guy. I mean, speaking of romantic comedies, I remember I remember thinking one day, why is it that I never get asked to do romantic comedy? I'd kind of like to, something with Hugh Grant in it or something like that. And I thought, well, I'm probably not asked to do these things because I've not done it before. And so a director wouldn't really consider that would be my thing. But shortly after I had those thoughts, I was asked to do Bridget Jones with Renée Zellweger. So I was really happy I did get to do something in that vein.
So that, I mean, which movie you really wanna, I mean, walk, like you haven't done anything like this, you really wanna do?
I don't know. I hadn't, until recently, I hadn't done a documentary. And last year I did a documentary. I co-composed it with a friend of mine called Michael Danner, really
Okay.
great composer and a really good friend of mine. But we found a project to do together, which was a documentary about Elon Musk's company, SpaceX. And it's
Yeah,
called
yeah,
Return to Space. It's a Netflix documentary. And that was really good fun. I had never really delved into the documentary
yeah.
scenario.
Okay. So I, as you have said that you have, you have not been, typecasted, like
Not yet.
you have done so many different genres. So that one genre, I mean, like how much tough it is to shift the genres, like yes, you have said like you are doing something like some other genre and at the same time you are doing something else, so
Well,
how tough it is?
I tend not to do two films at once, though. I know some composers
Okay.
make that and have a lot of additional writers that they use so that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can get through the workload. I tend not to do that. Last year, I was involved in a TV series at the same time as trying to do one of Ridley's movies, and that was tough.
Okay.
But I'm not doing two movies at once. It's that's not what I'm about at all. I'm trying to do fewer movies and do them better. That would be the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that would be the perfect scenario.
yeah. So I mean, what you have been associated with the some of the greatest filmmakers, but I mean, I mean, which other director you really want to work with?
Well, I don't know that some of the great directors of our time, Martin Scorsese, these people, they kind of got
Yeah,
their style. They've got their composers.
yeah,
I don't expect to get a call from Scorsese or James Cameron. There was a
yeah,
moment about 2 years ago when I think a lot of composer agents went out to James Cameron must have come to the agents in Hollywood and said, "Look,
yeah,
that James Horner's dead. I'll need someone for Avatar 2 and Avatar 3." And a lot of people submitted
yeah, yeah.
submitted music and crossed their fingers. I decided not to submit music. I didn't think
Why? But why? You could.
I had a chance of doing it. I didn't think there was any point in it. But I see actually that the guy who assisted James Horner
Yeah.
on the original Avatar, he's been chosen to do it, which is kind of nice. Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
get his
Okay.
moment in the sun. Yeah.
Okay. So I really want to ask that what are the tips you want to give to the aspiring music composers?
Well, I think it's really important to get a really solid musical foundation. So, in
Okay.
this day and age, you can tap away on a computer and make musical sounds. So
Yeah.
that's great. That's fine. I haven't got a problem with that. But to have a really solid foundation in music, it doesn't have to be classical music, and it doesn't have to be music theory. But, I see some young composers trying to enter the business without really having any musical
Yeah.
education. And I don't know how that's going to work out for them. I don't see how it can. But there are very many areas that, I believe there is a place for everybody in this industry. You don't have
Yeah.
to have been to music school like me. Look, my mentor, Hans Zimmer, famously
Yeah.
had one piano lesson in his life, and that didn't go
Yeah.
well, apparently. And look at him. He's found a way
Yeah.
to express his vivid imagination. And good luck to him. So it's not necessary to be a brilliant pianist or go to some posh music school to learn music, but it would be really really handy to have a good musical foundation before you launched into trying to be a composer. And
Yeah.
then possibly, I mean, I speak from my own experience.
Yeah.
One of the best ways of getting into the business is to assist a really busy, charismatic, cool guy or girl. Yeah. I mean,
Like you.
there's so many benefits to that. In my case, I got to be with Hans in the same room as Hans when he was doing some of these scores, whether it's Thin Red Line, and I got to maybe write the odd cue for him, ghostwrite a couple of cues. And it was an invaluable experience because as an assistant, you're not the fall guy. It's not all up to you.
Yeah.
The whole weight of Disney or DreamWorks or someone isn't going to come down on you. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's the main person. In my case, it was Hans Zimmer. He took the heat. And I was able to be in the back of the room doing as much as I could to help
Yeah.
him. And really what goes around comes around. I firmly believe that. Hans gave me a great leg up into the business.
Yeah.
But I bust my ass for him for 4 or 5 years, and so, that was, I did my due diligence in that respect. And I think being an assistant to a busy composer, there's no point being an assistant to a composer who does one TV episode every 6 months. Might as well be to a busy composer, because for lots of reasons. Firstly, the busier your boss is going to be, the more you're going to get thrown at you, the more opportunity you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's busy. That's why he needs an assistant. Right. And secondly, I think it would be really good if you liked that person's music, if you respected it. And so this wasn't just like a job, it was more like a calling to work with and for that person. And then I think you need a lot of patience to find your opportunity to move forward on your own. And quite often, I have assistants myself now. And for the last 4 or 5 years, I had a really talented assistant called Stephanie Economou. And about 2 years ago, just after we did Mulan, actually, she moved on. It was time for her. She'd been with me 4 or 5 years. She was ready. And as much as I wanted to keep her, because she was a brilliant assistant and a lovely friend, it was time for me to help her move forward. I found a TV series that would agree to us doing it together, me and Stephanie. And that really helped her move forward, earn a little bit of money, get a little bit of a credit. And she moved forward. And this was a couple of years ago, and she's doing incredibly well on her own now. So, that's a perfect path, really, as far as I can see. You have 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, of being an assistant. So it doesn't all come down on you. You're just the assistant. It's not like you have the full responsibility for each of these projects, but you have a really full involvement. And you can see how, in my case, it was Hans, how he played, how he interacted with producers and directors, and what he did when someone said, "I don't like this. This isn't working for me." When they're listening to a cue, did he like throw his hand up in the air and throw his toys out of the stroller? No. He worked the situation, and there was so much to learn in that respect.
Yeah.
And then when it was my turn to have my own projects, I felt like I had a really good grounding of how to move forward.
Yeah. So, what do you prefer the most, the traditional music or the electronic? I mean, the new era music.
Well, I like to mix it up a bit and have a bit of a hybrid. So that there's usually, in a score like The Martian, there's quite a lot of techie synth sort of activity, but there's also symphonic stuff and choral stuff. And for me, the melding of those two things together is where it gets pretty exciting. And that's my interest is in that.
Okay. And I will have, I want to do a rapid fire session for you. I want to have. Okay. So, the first thing, that describe these people in one word. Hans Zimmer.
Genius.
Okay. John Williams.
Old.
Okay. James Horner.
Dead.
Okay. Michael Giacchino.
Talented.
Okay. Harry Gregson-Williams.
Learning.
Okay. So I mean, that's the process. I mean, every time I say things, I ask something, and everyone says that, yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still learning. So
Yeah.
that's the. I mean, you really think that that's the process? I mean, the
Yeah,
learning.
obviously. I mean, I think with every score that I do, I can look back on it and be pleased with some things that I've done, but there are lots of things I
Yeah,
could have done better, and I might have made a wrong decision along the way. It probably didn't affect the film. The film was probably fine. The score was okay, but yeah, I think not just learning, but discovering, because that's part of life's journey, isn't it? I mean, as individuals, whether we're talking about film music or as a parent.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
or as a partner to someone, or in any respect. I think if we recognize that we open ourselves up to the possibility of getting better and
yeah,
evolving,
yeah,
then I think that's a good spot to be in.
yeah, yeah. So I was asking that the thing is like after the release. I mean, you suppose you have composed a music for a film, and then after the release, you're watching that film, and you really feel that, oh, I could have done better for that scene.
Yeah.
Do you really feel that?
Oh yeah, of course. If not, I could have done better. Then I could have made a different decision there. Maybe I'm watching at the premiere of, I don't know, Mulan or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Battles in that thing.
yeah,
And I hear the mix in the cinema, and I know that there are kind of some drum patterns going on beneath the horses' hoofs as they're
yeah,
charging
yeah,
the battle. And I might think to myself, man, those drums just aren't necessary. The horse's hooves are there. The
yeah,
percussion should have been higher and sparkly instead of.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, I don't know that that's the case with Mulan, but those are the sort of things one notices afterwards, and hopefully not too much of that. Hopefully along the way, one did make most of the right decisions. But
yeah, yeah,
yeah, often when I look further and further and further back, I don't have that. The film seems like exactly how it was always meant to be to me, including the
yeah,
music. Like with the early Tony Scott films that I did,
yeah, yeah.
or the early animations like Ants or Chicken Run or Shrek or these sort of things. I don't look at them critically. It's more things that I've done recently. They're fresh in my mind,
Yeah, yeah.
and I can be self-critical about that.
So I mean, you have been associated with other, I mean, music composers. Like you have said, you have a really great friendship with, Hans Zimmer. So,
Yeah.
uh, has it ever happened that you composed the music and you really? I mean, is there a word like I'm a writer and director, so I have like things like writer's block. Do you have any kind of things like the music block?
Oh, of course, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Sometimes it's tough to know which way to turn, or I'm doing an action movie at the moment, the Meg 2,
yeah,
and the music is there's so much music to create and so much energy to put into it. Sometimes I will go into the studio and I'll not be feeling it, so I'll go out and play tennis, or I'll go for a run, or take the dog for a walk, or something. It's possible to get over these humps, as you all know that yourself. And sometimes
yeah,
it's better to just like focus in and make something happen. And sometimes it's better just to turn away and think, well, you know what? It's not going to happen this morning, but maybe it'll happen this afternoon.
yeah. So the thing I was asking that, like, you have faced, like, you're facing the music block, and did you ever ask, like, did you ever trying to get some advice from like Hans Zimmer
Yeah,
or
yeah,
other
sure.
composers?
I'll definitely. I mean, I'm not his assistant. I haven't been his assistant for 20 years, but he's still a friend and someone I
Yeah,
respect. I think it's very important to, often maybe I'll send him some music and say, look, what is
yeah,
it
yeah,
bugging me about this? How could I
yeah.
improve this? And he'll share music with me as well. But
Okay.
I think in general, it's quite a lonely task composing. So it's good to at least have the door open
Yeah,
to other people who are only going to be constructive. They're not going to be
yeah,
too critical. They're not going to
yeah,
say, look, it's a part of crap. They're going to say, maybe it could be improved here. Yeah, why don't you think about the melody coming down here, or whatever it is? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So my
Uh,
last question would be, has
go-
yeah, please say. Yeah.
no, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I wanna ask that when are you coming to India?
I'd like to. I went to India once.
Okay.
I flew to Bombay, and I took the misleadingly called Bombay Madras Express. I could have run faster than that train went. It was hardly an express, but I loved it, and I've always had a great love of India. I love cricket, so I the
Yeah.
IPL and the Indian cricket team. Of course, I support the English cricket team. Uh,
Yeah.
of course. So there's lots of things I love about India. Yeah, on that trip we explored Kerala, southern India.
Kerala. Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful, beautiful. But I desperately want to come back. I very much want to come back to India.
Yeah.
It's a
Please come back. I
place.
mean, like I am from Calcutta, so you can visit Calcutta.
Calcutta. Okay, I'll put it on my list of places to go.
Yeah.
All right,
Sure.
it's
Sure.
really nice to meet you, Janiad.
Thank you so much for coming. It's really I really feel honored. That
Well,
you
it's a
came.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for asking. All right, man.
Thank you
Bye
so
for
much.
now.
Yeah.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.